This video popped up on my feed. It's by Foxy Games UK. Title of the video is Forza Horizon 5 PS5 sales proves one thing. I'm curious to see what is being said about the sales of this game because largely not many have been talking about it, if I'm honest. And even on the PlayStation side and such, I'm not hearing too much about it because there could be interpretations in many ways. For me, based on my own position where I hate exclusivity, even first party exclusivity, even though I say, sure, it's your game as the first party, and third party, it's your game, right? And you can do whatever you want with it. I still hate the whole paradigm though, right? But I think what this game has said in looking at the whole coverage and how Xbox gamers perceive PlayStation games and how PlayStation gamers perceive Xbox games, the conversation about quality of Xbox games is in question as their games are going to PlayStation, because now we get to see buyers respond and react to it. So let me listen to what this gentleman has to say. And I know he's more PlayStation, aficionado-like, but I'm curious to just hear his position on the matter.
You have these idiotic...
Hold on, let me stop. Ooh, he's already throwing out... shots are getting fired.
You know what's hilarious? I'll tell you what's hilarious. Ever since Xbox decided to put its games on PlayStation, you have these idiotic, vocal minority of fanboys proclaiming that people are buying PlayStation 5s just to play Xbox games, pointing at the, current chart standings of game sales per platform and seeing that Xbox is dominating, the top half of the PlayStation Store.
Well, in all fairness, you have to take that as a data-driven, tongue-in-cheek, meme-worthy set of statements. You know what I mean? Like, okay, sure. The games, realistically, you can't dodge the data, are topping the charts. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. But there's a reason why the memes are playing out. Could it be that we're all aware of how Xbox gamers have been treated as playing on an inferior platform that has inferior games, yet for them to see that the opposing platform users who are vocal have been pointing out, to Xbox that, yeah, your platform is inferior, your games are inferior, only to find out that majority of their gamers on their platform are playing those, quote unquote Xbox games. So the irony should not be lost here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, let me just keep listening. I just feel like that should be, okay, people are just memeing themselves into oblivion.
Game sells. You'd kind of expect that from a third-party publisher named Microsoft, putting games everywhere all at once. You would expect them to jump up the charts, right? Because there's a lot of people that didn't get an opportunity to play those games because they refused to buy an Xbox platform. It wasn't the games that they didn't want to play. It was the hardware they didn't want to buy. So now you have games like Forza, Sea of Thieves, doing exceptionally well on PlayStation. Whereas, in terms of sales at least, excluding player numbers, those are easy to acquire. I mean, if you're giving the game away for free, yeah, people will jump on. But in terms of sales, these games have sold far better on PlayStation than they ever did on the Xbox Series consoles.
How did you come about that? You'd have to have numbers to show that. Which games? You mean like Call of Duty and Minecraft? If that's the case, yeah, they were already selling the most on PlayStation over any platform. I mean, before Xbox owned them, right? And if we look at the chart that's being referenced here, it will be Matt Piscatella's data sets in this regard, right? So, yeah, that's one of the reasons that Xbox went and got them, because they're money makers, obviously. In fact, it's the same reason that PlayStation went and got Bungie, because they had the pipeline to sell their games, microtransactions, and do their business where they saw fit and seemed profitable doing it. That's just business perspective 101. Where the game sells more doesn't even really matter. let me go ahead and blast this narrative out of the water as if somebody is about to come ahead and say something. Because again, I point everybody to the Steam bestseller games, which is not just a status symbol like the Game Awards, but a financially measurable metric that you can use to tell about the success of a video game title. If you look at this list, it tells you the top games by revenue, by gross revenue. It's not giving you an award for having a game. It's giving you a placement, a position in terms of where your games have sold. And Destiny 2 is a regular on that list, as well as PUBG, as well as Lost Ark, Dota 2, Apex Legends, and some of these titles, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, right? In 2023, Hogwarts Legacy, and so on and so forth. If we go to 2024, we're also going to see these titles as well. So if it's about, oh, these games are selling more on other platforms than your console, we have many games that are doing that. I mean, are we going to talk about Helldivers 2 that has sold more on PC than it did on PlayStation itself? That's not even making it in the top list on PlayStation, but is making it in the top played list on Steam. So once again, I just don't know why anybody would want to bother with that particular, framework to try to think you're countering a meme. It's just a meme. Let the companies do what they're doing. You, the gamer, focus on the games themselves.
And some people might point to, well, it's available on Game Pass. Of course the sales are going to be better on PlayStation. There's no Game Pass on PlayStation. And rightly so. We don't want it on PlayStation. We like to own our games.
That's not true. That's not what I've seen from PlayStation users. The PlayStation subreddit tells a different story, man. It's a story so different. Especially when you look at it, you'll be hard pressed to think that this is actually the narrative out there. But this is one YouTuber talking about Game Pass among a lot of the other content creators that are pro PlayStation that have Game Pass accounts where they could go get it on PC. Some of them have Xboxes. And then I look at this subreddit, which has 1,300 upvotes, 654 comments. And if we should read all of this, of which, let me do this. Timestamp 154. I'm going to paste it. 152 where he says that. And I'm going to put the link. The link is going to get deleted. I'm going to go ahead and modify the link with the parentheses so that if he wants, he may be able to click the link. He may delete it because YouTube, oh, it showed it. All right. If he wants to go see it himself, he can go see it himself. Because that statement is just not true. That statement is a generalization. Anecdotally, he can say that. But to say we don't want that, that's not true. I don't see where that's coming from.
We like to support great studios. But
so do the Xbox and the Valve gamers and the Game Pass PC users. We're supporting them by giving them our subscription fee, acting like, the games are free or something.
yeah, the fact that it's on Game Pass for Xbox players and it's not selling great, what does that say about you? It tells anybody with half a brain that you don't like buying games, you refuse to buy games, you have an option not to buy games, and you're taking the option not to buy games because you're getting them on a monthly subscription service for a pittance.
That's a bad thing? Is there not a saying that goes, the fool and their money is easily parted? So if I have the opportunity to spend less money and I take the opportunity, am I not being prudent and wise? Should one be shamed for taking advantage of a financially beneficial opportunity for them? I need to see where this video lands. I'm curious now. I'm locked in. Let's go.
And we're going to explore that further in this video, and I'm going to debunk some absolute tripe and nonsense that's going around the internet at the moment. But if you like this sort of thing, like, subscribe, hit notification, and all that good stuff, welcome back to Foxy Games UK. And our first news story then, insidergaming.com, all links are available in the video description. Forza Horizon 5 sold 2 million copies on PS5 in 1 month.
Okay.
Indeed, it's been claimed by a former Turn 10 employee that Forza Horizon 5 sold a whopping 2 million copies in a single month when it was released on PlayStation 5. The game was one of the first Xbox exclusive titles to release on PlayStation 5 in April, and it skyrocketed on the platform, exposing an entire...
That was not necessarily, shocking, as we had already been seeing from the pre-order data that the game was, blowing everything out of the water. It's just very interesting.
Entirely new audience to the hyper-realistic arcade action of Forza Horizon 5. But it is worth stressing that the reference from the former Turn 10 employee was pulled from a LinkedIn profile that has since been updated to remove all mention of the sales figure. I wonder why. So yeah, Forza Horizon 5 is one of the most drop-dead gorgeous racing games on the market. I've always said it's the best open world racing game I've ever played. In fact, the Forza Horizon series is the best open world, bar none, for racing.
Okay.
I've always said that. I actually purchased the premium edition of Forza Horizon 5 with all the cars, all the passes, everything, because I love this game in spite of already owning it on the Xbox Series X, which I'm a bit miffed about because I have a physical copy on the Xbox, but unfortunately Microsoft did not allow PlayStation gamers to buy Forza Horizon 5 on disc, and they have this annoying link account thing. Like every time you play the game, not just every day.
I like how we said it's annoying. PC gamers also thought it was annoying as well too. Y'all need to train Microsoft. Don't buy their games so that they remove the account linking thing. That's what we did on PC. We trained them, and we trained them right.
Like, you could play the game for 10 minutes, turn your console off, turn it back on. Oh, you've got a link again. Link, without Zelda in sight. Microsoft taking this whole link up thing to a whole new level. But yeah, drop dead gorgeous graphics, the sandbox action and opportunities it affords gamers are unparalleled in this space. It's easy to see why it could have sold 2 million copies in a single month on PlayStation 5, because there is no comparative PlayStation 5 game. Really, what, you've got Ubisoft's the Crew Motorfest.
What is GT actually? I mean, Gran Turismo, is it like a racing sim, like hardcore? What is its deal? Like, what is its unique market proposition? I haven't played it, so I guess, maybe somebody needs to make something like that on PlayStation. Maybe it's unique. Maybe they nailed the niche properly. But again, if you go back to the start of the video, you're attesting to exactly what those meme warriors are putting out there, because the PlayStation fan base had already, marred the perception of the Xbox user, claiming that their games are not good. Now, seeing how the game is selling like hotcake, you can't help it. The Xbox user can't help it but clown back and say, y'all are buying our games en masse, or playing the games that come from our studios en masse compared to your own games. It's called the law of sowing and reaping. You sowed that seed. I'm not talking specifically you, Foxy Gamer UK guy, but I'm talking about the PlayStation fan base. Their receipts are everywhere. They're very bold, braggarts, braggadocious, loud, obnoxious, and we know that that's how, they've basically presented the information, right? So now that, everything has come home to roost, we're seeing exactly the, maybe we call it hypocrisy or ignorance. They just didn't know about these games. You did. You seem to, say Forza is the best open world game, but it didn't seem like many of them knew, right? Am I right? So it's just one of those really interesting things at the end of the day when you kind of think about it, that this is pretty much, how they've gone about taking this all into account on their end. So think about it that way.
But honestly, it's not a patch on the Forza Horizon series. There's no more need for speeds. What have we got left? Even Forza Motorsport.
Oh wait, the fact that it's one of the best open world games is not to be credited to them because other games aren't being developed. So you claim that this is a great game. It's not surprising that it's selling well, but that should not be credited towards what Xbox has done in terms of gaming. I think I get a hint of downplaying here, or Xbox tax. Or maybe I'm just getting the wrong read. It could be me. I don't know. You know, when you say that's not a patch to Xbox, I'm thinking, how do you mean? Because it was a patch years ago. In fact, I would say what is not a patch to Xbox is that they kept the game exclusive, because I do not like exclusivity, right? And obviously, the fruits of the game being multi-platform are actually being experienced right now, as Xbox has, is basically making money off the game and is able to reinvest the money. And that studio is one studio that now has a cash line from PlayStation, right? So obviously the exclusivity thing was just a poor idea, I guess. Maybe timed exclusivity at some point,
Sport is apparently dead. So for PlayStation gamers, they've got Gran Turismo 7, a very serious racer, or at least as serious as you want it to be. And then you've got Forza Horizon 5, an open world sandbox game that I'm sure many a PlayStation gamer has envied over the years, and now they finally get to play it. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Is that what they do? Are they so cognitively deceived that they think that, PlayStation games are crap now because we can get your Xbox games? No. This is just more. How do you like it?
Nah, okay, well, let me just say my perception of the issue is that I've seen PlayStation gamers rag on Xbox gamers for not having, these so-called quality games. In fact, let me show you a comment, and while y'all are here, that I just made a video about from one of my audience members. Here, this one right here. He said, as much as I love Xbox, I have to admit, it baffles me how $1 trillion company and one of the biggest third-party publishers in gaming history is unable to. Let me go ahead and open another YouTube tab where I can read the comment for you, so I don't log out of Foxy's, video in this regard, so that you guys can see the comment yourself. Because it even has, people questioning why, the PlayStation games and all this stuff, right? So even Xbox gamers are looking at this stuff in the conversational space and wondering if Xbox can make these kinds of PlayStation games. No one is disputing that, right? But I guess it's all been from the perspective of the PlayStation gamers, being exposed to their own games and not being exposed to the PlayStation game, the Xbox games. And now that they're exposed to the Xbox games, it's showing that there's always been quality within Xbox, depending on who's playing it. That's what I'm meaning. Depending on who's playing it, which is subjective. Quality is a subjective thing at the end of the day.
How do you like? Yeah, never mind. So, on LinkedIn, the former Turn 10 employee struck by the recent Microsoft layoffs detailed his time at the company, and in one line wrote that created cross-platform feature designs enabling Forza Horizon 5 to sell 2 million units in 1 month on PS5 alone. Mm-hmm. I believe it. It's a disgruntled employee, and they're not even saying anything terrible about Microsoft. They're actually, that is a win for Microsoft, that they sold 2 million copies on PS5. The game's not even been on PS5 that long. So the profile in question has since been updated to remove the comment. So it's likely he cottoned on to people talking about this and rushed to update what he'd written. That could mean he was wrong, or it could mean he just wasn't allowed or was not meant to be talking about it.
Xbox is staying very quiet about a lot of their numbers. They're staying very, very quiet about a lot of their numbers. I think that they're staying quiet about their numbers because they're going to be weaponized either way. They have to stay very quiet because they're actually planning on dominating PlayStation. You just don't see it because you choose not to see it. I'm not talking about this, YouTuber. I'm just saying, when they spent $80 billion, that should have told you everything that you needed to know. Because in a heartbeat, if they have it, they'll spend another $80 billion. They're very serious about this stuff. Like, a lot of people are thinking that this is a joke. If they could have bought Rockstar, they would have bought Rockstar. Does that make sense? Like, if there was anybody that they could have acquired that would give them the entire edge in specific gaming metrics, they would have acquired that, publisher, developer, whoever it is. Because when they went for Activision and literally did not even flinch at the price point and then gave the CMA the concession of, yes, let Ubisoft distribute the cloud rights to sell our titles, that's when you knew that they were ready. Like, do you know how much they gave up to actually put themselves in this position? So they're not willing to sit here and dabble into the little, minuscule stuff that the pedantic gaming media can actually use to gather stuff against them, because there's going to still be another regulatory, kerfuffle when they choose to make one more move. So they have to shut up as much as possible. And that's what a lot of people are probably not seeing. Anyways.
Now, it's unlikely that he got it wrong, because why would he boost Microsoft up after they just let him go? Yeah, he could have said it only sold 500,000 copies. He could have said 100,000 copies. He could have just said anything. But it is unlikely we'll ever get confirmed sales numbers for Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation 5, and Harrison's throwaway and now altered comment might be the best we'll get to the truth. Forza Horizon 5 continues to offer a strong showing on PlayStation 5, and now fans are preparing for what could be Forza Horizon 6 potentially launching next year. But will it land on PlayStation 5 on day one?
That's a good question. That's what they want y'all to keep asking. Is it going to come to PlayStation? Now they have you interested, if you're a racing fan, in their platform. They've given you a taste of something that you don't have.
Well, given that Microsoft is now promoting itself as a third-party publisher, I don't see any reason why not. And if it outsells the Xbox version, then will you say the same, that Xbox is dominating? Because that's all they've got now, isn't it, really?
No. You don't have to wait for it to sell more on PlayStation, because it likely has always sold more on Steam. That's what I'm trying to, I think this whole thing is so sequestered. And I think the whole folk that are talking about console back and forth, many have actually, in a sense, assessed that the gaming industry is only driven by console gaming. Forza Horizon 5 has been blasting through financial, markers back and forth. This is 2022. The game was in the gold category of the highest grossing games with the likes of FIFA, Cyberpunk 2077, Red Dead Redemption 2 PC, and even PlayStation's God of War 2018. Go back one more year, and this is Forza Horizon 4, by the way. Go back one more year. Let's go back to that year, 2024. Let's go to 2021. And in the best grossing games of 2021, Forza Horizon 5 also sat in the gold category from a financial success, probably in its own paradigm and metric on Steam, decimating what PlayStation might even ever do. While on the Xbox, it was on Game Pass, which many would probably have either bought it or not bought it. So this thing is bigger than consoles, bigger than Xbox and PlayStation. And much, much bigger.
The consoles got thrashed. They're not really a console company anymore, the way they're speaking. They're a Windows gaming company.
That makes no sense. Foxy Gaming UK, leave that argument alone about Windows and stuff. Again, like I've said, when guys on console talk about this stuff, they're opening themselves up for an intellectual bodying. Because when you say that, you don't even really understand the ramifications of what you've said. You've literally dismissed the PlayStation as well in making that comment. By using Windows as some kind of an own, you fail to realize that the PlayStation is built, predicated on another operating system distro that you're not pointing to. And in many cases, even some technically savvy PlayStation users and folk also try to dismiss. It's almost like it's a weird mental gymnastics going on. Don't make this argument. It's not one that can stand. Saying, oh, they're using Windows. Who made Windows?
All their games have gone over to other platforms. So what have they got really left to hold on to retain?
Hold on. All of their games have gone to other platforms? All of their games have gone to PC. Yes. Well, almost all of their games have gone to PC. Yes, they've been doing that for 8 years. They're not interested in holding on to exclusivity. I can play whataboutism about PlayStation, but I want to go ahead and point out exactly the framework of Xbox's business in this particular context. So if you say, what have they got to hold on to? You might be the one that thinks PlayStation gamers have something to hold on to in terms of exclusivity, of which they don't, as their games are, almost all their games are now on PC. So I don't know what's going on here, but
some semblance of dignity. Well, they can try and flip the script and say PlayStation games are so uninteresting that PlayStation gamers would rather buy Xbox games, and they're buying PlayStations just to play Xbox games.
Well, from a a data perspective, they're actually not wrong. I'm not joking. Like, it's a meme. I recognize that it's a meme. It's an oversimplification of the details, but the meme is actually backed up by a lot of data. I mean, let me show you what I'm talking about. Matt Piscatella, that's where everyone is pulling Piscatella's data now. That's why PlayStation fanboys were so mad at Matt Piscatella and always just bothered the guy who's just doing his job and putting data out there for you. What is this? 2 hours ago, bam, Call of Duty #1 on PlayStation, Minecraft #6 on PlayStation. Are you seeing it? Diablo 4 #10 on PlayStation. It went on PlayStation Plus. Are y'all seeing it? So when they say that, they are not being facetious. We've just gotten the data from the week of July 5th, the week ending July 5th, and it's showing the exact same thing. They do have grounds to make that claim.
In fact, they could just buy a cheap Xbox Series S or second-hand Xbox Series X and get Game Pass if they really wanted to play those games. Why would they go and spend money on a whole new console to play games that are old, that you can play really for free once you've paid your subscription fee?
It's not free, but you've just made a case, though, for why the games are going to PlayStation. Why should they go buy a box to play another game? Let me go ahead and speak my mind here. I think Foxy Games UK hates Xbox. I think you hate Xbox as an ecosystem and as a platform. And in your attempt to go ahead and belittle the platform, you're making many cases for it. Let me give you a good way to criticize this platform. Put away your hatred and bias. You'll be able to find where the holes are. And there are a lot of holes in the Xbox's ecosystem. A lot of holes in the Xbox's ecosystem. In fact, I've been one of the bigger critics as to the Xbox console after Gotham Knights came out, that they finally are plugging their biggest hole, which is that their consumers have been barred away from other possibilities by bringing Windows to them. That's a big play. But many of you are reading it as something bad, and so you miss the entire point. And you make these vitriolic videos where you pretty much clown your argument by making the argument for Xbox. You keep giving them the W's. I don't even need to worry about anything. They don't need to worry about anything, because you just started the whole video talking about how it's a pittance and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's exactly the point why gamers would want to flock to their ecosystem, because they're giving gamers so much value. All this talk about we love to support gamers, that is actually a silly errand to ask people to run for you, to go support the developers with their hard-earned cash when they can actually come together in a higher collective, paying a subscription and playing the games, or, God forbid, buying the games, which also is afforded them in the entire Game Pass paradigm, right? It's like it's right there, right? Oh, goodness. They only subscribe. They're subscribing to the games. Well, is that right? There's a buy button. They seemingly went ahead and ignored the buy button and said, no, we will subscribe. And Xbox says, fine. And some said, no, we don't want to subscribe. Xbox says, fine. Do what you want to do. That is the best proposition that you, as a platform holder, can give your audience.
Play it all anyway. It's ridiculous. It's just sour grapes. It's trying to hold on to some dignity. It is sad to see. It looks like they're crumbling like cookies.
Crumbling.
There you have it.
All right, man. I'm done. I'm going to leave the link in the description for you guys. Man, Xbox gamers, I don't know what y'all did that made these PlayStation fans angry at you, man. They are mad. Woo! Y'all are in for some work. You are about to get a console, right? That's literally kryptonite. I'm talking garlic and silver and kryptonite all meshed into one device, and they call it the Xbox Ally X. The amount of psychological meltdowns that's about to happen, you don't even understand. I have assessed this level of vitriol, and I've seen that this level of vitriol is only dealt with by the opposing side, where the customer continues to benefit more and more so that they can continue to dig into their love of the anti-consumer framework and paradigm. That's what they want. And then their masters in PlayStation can keep serving them that bitter drink of taking their money and giving them very little. That's how this is going to play out. Or some are going to spit it out like they've been doing on that subreddit, talking about how Game Pass is making them envious about, what, Xbox gamers are getting compared to PlayStation Plus. This thing's about to bust wide open. Y'all think this is over? Nah, you're about to start. You are about to start a new chapter where, as the PlayStation fan rages, you're going to be playing their games. The Last of Us, it'll be the last time that it's exclusive. I think I may have tipped my toe in the salt field. I'm going to back away. I'm going to just walk backwards quietly and comment section. Peace out.